Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another week of the DCU Experience. The Four Horsemen are here. I don't know what all the Four Horsemen are. I know there's like pestilence. There's like war.
Yeah.
Famine.
I don't know. I don't know who's who.
Life.
I'm probably war. I feel like I cause a rift in the group once a week, at least, which isn't great, but I'm doing my best. We're back with a more Peacemaker coming to you in your life. And I gotta say, we said last week, hey, last week's episode was the best episode. I gotta say, I love this one. And we're gonna go through it from the beginning to the end. But before we even get into that, I'll say, I don't know about you guys, but I think we all expected this to happen. And despite that expectation, knowing that it was this, the reveal was still awesome. Anyway, let's rewind and go back to the beginning, where we have Peacemaker. He's living his life, seemingly his best life, with Harcourt. You know, they're in the bed, doing the shower thing. And then we flash back to the real world. In the real world, we get to see a little bit more into Adrian, aka Vigilante's life. And I gotta say, a little disappointed in my guy Adrian with how he treated his beautiful, amazing mother. Thoughts?
She had it coming.
Okay.
Okay, wow.
Look, she's in his business. She's clearly browbeating him around, and you got a man has to put his foot down, especially when he's out there doing vigilante stuff.
She was just an old lady. She just wanted to know what her son was up to. I can't hate on that. I thought she was extremely funny.
Try harder.
I think the fact that he's got so much disposable income rather, and capital, and what we all know to be the real wealth in the world, which is hardcore drugs, but he's still living with his mom. I think that gives her the liberty to ask and poke around as much as she wants, to be honest, because he can move out and start his drug empire Breaking Bad style whenever he feels like it, but he hasn't.
That's true.
Yeah, the vigilante cave was quite stocked up. You had everything that you need. A growing boy needs. You got.
It was a true doomsday bunker, if anything.
Yep.
You could definitely make it a long time down there for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know how much protein you're getting out of Beanie Babies. Are there beans in the Beanie Babies? What's in there?
Why else would they be named that?
That's the open. Question. There's probably crack in them if he's getting them.
Does counterpart Vigilante favor the ostrich Beanie Baby the most, or could that be a point of contention? Does he have
that's a good question.
That same sort of wing, or is he going to be like, no, that one sucks, and all the animals that you like I hate, and there will be a vigilante fight scene.
What's interesting is we're skipping ahead just a bit, but Vigilante goes into his own Earth. He sees the differences between his Earth and that one, which are all kind of minor differences, really, other than the fact that his father is quote-unquote not gay, but probably still is, but completely closeted because he lives in a absolute hell world where it would be impossible for him to come out. But what's interesting is, how does Spider-Man exist on Earth X? How did that happen? How did the Jewish Stan Lee end up creating a Spider-Man? And how did Pokemon happen? I guess like Japan was allied to the Axis powers, right? So I guess they still.
A good question.
Yeah. This is why DC needs a lore master, somebody who's looking into this, like Star Wars has.
The real questions.
Stan Lee's full name was Stan Leibowitz, and then I think there probably was still a healthy amount of anti-Jewish sentiment. Like that's why a lot of those guys went into comics, because they were kind of barred from like adult literature or, I guess at the time contemporary media. So he might have just written the Stan Lee thing for as long as he could. Maybe he's related to Spike Lee or something.
Yeah.
And got that going. Maybe Ditko, because he probably also maybe it was just a world of pseudonyms and people trying to stay under the radar.
I don't think
Pokemon. That's also
in that world.
Yeah, I don't know if
not.
Spike Lee can make any movies.
Yeah, Spike Lee for sure. I don't think he's running around.
Oh man.
Well, who knows if there's,
I don't
who
think.
knows? Pokemon, that is an interesting one because, yeah, how would they even come to that independent, idea without like American? I don't know. Yeah, it's strange. But the Spider-Man, not only Spider-Man, but they got all the way to the 60s animation where they pointed at each other.
Yeah.
So all of that continuum still took place with Spider-Man.
Something else just triggered in my brain now that I'm thinking about it, because you're talking about like how media evolved. It's interesting that the most popular, music and groups in the world are all like glam metal and bands like that, and it's probably because there was no contribution of artists like Michael Jackson or anybody like that who helped propel pop music forward in that universe.
It's also stuff that Peacemaker, even in the main world, is most, sort of affixed to, like that.
Yeah, for
that
sure.
Culture. He was grown, raised on. So maybe that also points to how his father would have inoculated him from, other type of media, like you're saying, that was influenced by, artists that he would not want his son listening to that crap. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Overall, though, like I gotta say that, like, I feel like the internet had kind of called this for a while. So but even with the internet having called it, and it kind of being a point, even after the second episode, when people were starting to like really kind of hone in on this, we first got our first view of this alternate universe, and people really started going, looking for the breadcrumb trails between the next few episodes. That didn't lighten the impact for me of the actual reveal within the episode, though. And that's clearly like the biggest part of the episode, even though it's right at the end. I still felt like, okay, now we have confirmation, and it kind of creates this entire emotional weight to, what Harcourt had said there at the end, which I know we're jumping far ahead, but she goes, "This is your perfect Earth." And it's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's also because the episode built it up well, where you get the tension, you get her kind of looking around, being.
Another cool thing, we're definitely kind of all jumping around, but I guess these are just our foremost thoughts after seeing it. But it is cool that we are getting more Robert Patrick. Like, I think it is neat to see, because after the first season and giving, his how old that actor is, it is still cool to see that he's getting action scenes. Presumably he'll suit up again. So, I feel like it's probably I think James Gunn was going to continue to use him one way or another. They had the setup of like, he was in your head at the end of season 1, and then he sort of retooled his ideas. But I think that's another example of when James Gunn finds an actor that, he finds, to be very agreeable and of a, high class, he will find a role for them going forward, which also I was saying in private, but the Harcourt actress, James Gunn's wife, a lot of people are like very critical, and they like attribute, like, I guess, a form of nepotism to her inclusion, because she has been, she was in the Suicide Squad, then Peacemaker, then even Guardians 3, so on and so forth. But I think yeah, well, that had nothing to do with him, but yeah, she was in those. But yeah, no, I think she's proven by this episode, her sort of breaking down in front of Chris Smith. I think she definitely proved that she can hang in there, and it isn't nepotism. I think she is genuinely just a really, really good actress.
Yeah, she nailed it. And also, I think she's got a great comedic timing. Like, she's always the straight man. Even in the situation where she meets Keith for the first time, obviously she's saying like these ridiculous things, but trying to keep a straight face the entire time, despite everything she's saying being absolutely ridiculous. That was one of my favorite parts of the episode. It was really low key, but there was so much going on. Like, you could see Vigilante in the background in the closet with Adebayo just absolutely annoying the shit out of her while Harcourt was trying to get out of the situation that she was stuck in. And it was really cool to see Keith just be like, you're weird. Anyway, let's go. But I guess like
Yeah.
that's how you would act, right? If those characters had never come up against something like a changeling in this universe, something that could shapeshift, then he would have no reason to suspect this being a different person.
Yeah. I just want to quickly mention one thing that Crisis said about the visions of his father, because a couple of weeks ago Crisis did say that felt like it was dropped. And I just wanted to bring up that they addressed it, where I was like, oh, you used to have those visions but they don't have them anymore. So it's like maybe they were good to go with it, but they decided to move on to something else. But at least they addressed it, and it's not just something that fully disappeared, right? They've given a reason for why it's not prevalent.
Yeah, I mean, it did feel like they kind of hand waved it away out of an obligation, and I think Gunn has basically confirmed that season 2 that we got was a retooled, sort of rewritten version of what we were going to get, but of course that's under the parameters of like season 1 was written in the DCEU, but kind of in this weird gap where there really was no agenda to have things be connected. They had no like payoff in mind. They weren't building to like Peacemaker and Batgirl and Blue Beetle ever meeting. Like that, it was just random, and then he took over, and then a lot more projects. They had to push Peacemaker season 2 back. That was something where John Cena said, like, yeah, James said once he became head of the studio, he's like, it's going to be a minute till we get to Peacemaker 2, but we will get there. So I don't know. I felt like it was kind of just they were obliged to reference that it happened. But I don't know. I still think it would have been kind of interesting to see that used a little bit, that he's like having full body manifestations of his dead dad. Like maybe that's like a totally different type of character than what they wanted to explore in the season 2 that we got.
I feel like it might also have taken away some of the impacts, because if we'd seen him having the visions before, and then he sees his father and he's like, nice, maybe it adds more depending on how they do. But I feel like it could also take away.
It could give him even a bigger reason to leave, right? Like he's having these visions of his dad, and he goes to the other Earth, and he's like, they're gone, because like I have the dad there, and like they just go away. So that like that, I think that you bring up a good point, True. That could have been a good way to merge them and not have it be too overbearing. And then again, we get more Robert Patrick, which we do in this episode, just a tiny bit, but really intense scenes. But moving back a little bit to the car ride, we talked about the music, and I think Harcourt was like already picking up on things in that car ride. Like, this isn't just a weird situation for me to be in. I'm on an alternate Earth, which is what I would be thinking. Like, I'd be freaking out. But she was like noticing the bystanders on the street, and then the Halloween being like the second biggest band ever. She had to be like, huh? Something's not adding up. And then things really start to make more sense once she gets into Argus. And I like that the whole cocaine fiasco in the Vigilante cave was actually relevant to the plot. Like it ended up being really important, actually. And I don't think we would have gotten that ending where like Harcourt meets Harcourt if that had not happened, right? She would have gone in, and I do think that, like you said, Crisis, she was really, really good in this episode.
I thought the reveal and kind of the whole like construct of this universe, it feels a little contrived. I think it could have been a little bit more subtle, in my opinion, than to say the American flag is a dead giveaway, because I think in most cities there's like 100 American flags everywhere. And like it would be like decals on people's cars, and I mean, it's like Peacemaker has been flying around as well. And I get the like, you're so absorbed in the bliss of this family that you never had. I understand that, but they're like patriotic themed superheroes.
Yeah.
And he's been in this universe for I mean, it's and a non-specific amount of time, but like when he's flying around fighting the kaiju, he didn't see a single American flag on any building, or like nobody would be like like people be waving the flag, you know, as soon as those heroes show up. So I'm like,
at least in the DMV that he stopped in the earlier episode, there would be flags, right?
Or in Argus, like there'd be a big American flag as soon as you walk in, like it's a government building. Like I feel like that specific, it's the flag, like a slow reveal of a little commemorative 4th of July sized flag. I'm like, that specifically feels a little bit contrived. And then also, is Argus is that their headquarters in Peacemaker's hometown? And is it also there in the main universe? Is it like their main building? Because it feels like Peacemaker lives in like a nowhere, you know, flyover town.
Could
you know,
be,
some like heroin.
If they're like the biggest heroes, right, and they work with Argus, or it could be like a satellite branch. But we know that Argus in the main universe is not near it, because Harcourt mentions in the previous episode or 2 episodes ago that Rick Flag Sr. flew across the country to go see her.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was a question of mine, is like, where is Argus relative to, you know, these other places? Because if it is in Peacemaker's hometown, I mean, they're a place like Harcourt's, because the reason why it's a little bit frustrating is because the intelligence level of these characters, I feel like everyone is a moron, and that if that's the point of the show, then that I would say that's not a fair criticism. Like for someone to go, it's like, okay, yes, they are, like Vigilante is kind of stupid, but but it's inconsistent, because Harcourt picks it up like instantly, like she's in a new universe, you don't know anything, and you're like, there's too many white people, I think this might be an evil, I don't know if we could say the word, the sort of socialist party that, you know, arose in 1940s Germany. She makes that calculation, but I'm like, I mean, there are plenty of places in the United States that, you know, aren't exactly as vibrant as you know, maybe she's used to in Peacemaker's hometown. So I don't know. I feel, and then the fact that she picks it up when it's like, okay, you want to construct a scene where she is the only one to realize it based on some subtleties, but then you want to say it's on the flag. Like everyone should notice it. It's like Adebayo's walking around a neighborhood, right? And I mean, I was even,
seems
you know,
like the kind of neighborhood to fly flags in the front.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I was like, that same day, I was walking around like a neighborhood like that, and I was like counting the American flags. I'm like, this doesn't really add up to me. Like, people are waving. So I don't know, that the construct of the society and the specific reveal itself, and kind of the fluctuating like intelligence levels of these certain characters, to me, I was like, this could have been handled a little bit better. I think maybe emotionally it reads when you're just like watching the show.
Yeah.
But as soon as I'm like, it's a bit of a stretch to say it's on every American flag. Like maybe there could have been something subtle, maybe, because something they do as well in like the comic books, right, is when you go to Earth 3, in the you know, the crime syndicate world, they'll have certain phrases, right? So they'll say like God below or something instead of like Lord above, right? Like these common turn of phrases will be opposite, or they'll be affixed to something differently. So I mean, I don't know if I could say any phrase that they might, you know,
yeah, I'm gonna try.
No, that's good. I don't want that on the permanent record, but imagine they get all the way, if they get all the way to that last episode, and somebody just throws up a Roman salute, and even Peacemaker's like, wait, what? Like, yeah, you know, hits him with the old HH. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So, like, I feel like that would have been even a funnier, like, and then the meme that's going around is like, you know, there'll be a scene of like Adam Driver for that one like movie where he's like the screaming racist, and there'll be like Peacemaker intros be like that scene, and then the intro, like, could have been played for laughs. I don't know. This could have been a better way to communicate that they're, to do the to pull out the rug from under them, in my opinion.
I also want to ask the question: did Harcourt know the symbol was there before she opened the flag?
Well,
I don't think so.
Chris unfurled it.
Chris opened it, yeah.
But why did Chris open it?
Because Harcourt was
because
like,
she said,
people of color here, yeah.
And so he's like, well, let me check the flag real quick.
Yeah, that seems a little bit.
I think maybe it caught like the corner of his eye, and he picked it up and was like, oh.
I guess
like all of a sudden he's like, oh,
he's like, wait, maybe I'm in this place, and then he like maybe recognizes it. I can see like this doesn't seem like what I remember, but yeah, it is a strange reveal. I understand. It's just how do you do that reveal? Where I think the entire episode probably needs to get restructured at that point, right? Where you want her to pick up the ideas, but in a way that it shouldn't have been on the flag. I don't think.
No,
I think I agree with that.
Yeah,
because
the flag's just too much.
Unless there's some law that you can't fly a flag outside, then
sure, maybe. But then, like, maybe if it was like a statue, maybe they go through like Argus's back and they see, Superman saluting in the background or something.
Or they go on a computer in Argus and
you mean Overman?
Yeah, they go on a computer in Argus and there's like that guy's wallpaper is some messed up stuff, and they're like, this guy's weird. Like, I hope no one sees it. And then they realize it's like everyone's desktop is like some weird stuff or something.
Desktop.
Yeah, exactly. The Windows logo is different. It's like a weird certain symbol.
Yeah, it's got some angles to it.
Yeah, it's a hard reveal to do, but it just didn't.
It hit emotionally for me in the moment, and I watched it
in the moment
times
it was
since, and every time it still does, especially with like Adebayo, because you have those scenes cutting in and out like really quickly between her in the cul-de-sac and Peacemaker in Argus, so like you can feel your heart rate, the like tension, what's happening, and then it happens and you're like, oh shit. So it still like hits every time. It's just like, it's one of those things that I'm just gonna have to not think about it too hard.
Listen, I'm gonna have to say
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say that Adebayo scene might be my favorite scene of the season so far. Keith screeching to a stop and says, one of them got out.
Yeah.
From where, exactly, bro? That's crazy.
Crazy, bro. Absolutely.
When I was watching that and he yelled that, I was like, oh no.
I have to assume they have them in like sweatshops, just like making Nikes and iPhones. Like
it's also funny that everybody in the neighborhood is beaming towards her, like that classic shot of one person being chased down the street by an angry mob was just like
it's like a horde of zombies.
Face.
It's like Pirates of the Caribbean, right? Like
exactly.
The islanders.
And I know from listening to the official podcast and some stuff that James had said that he ran all this stuff by the actress first. That he was like, is this cool? This dialogue, and she was like, go with it, do it, So he was very cognizant of what he was creating, and made sure that this stuff was well known to the cast before they kind of sprung it on him in the scene. So
yeah, I mean, it would have been crazy. They could have like said some crazy stuff, and they kind of like what they said was crazy, but they could have went really crazy. And shout out to the actor Keith, another guy that has worked with James Gunn on a bunch of different stuff. He keeps his homies well fed, but
he was the dad in Brightburn, which is a movie that James Gunn produced, Evil Superman, and then he got to make the real Superman.
Not great. Like, it could have been so good. Anyway, let's go back a little bit before we talk about the absolute ending with Adebayo, because we were missing a bunch of different stuff, and something really, really important that we need to talk about that we kind of glossed over is Rick Flag takes a little bit of a trip to visit a certain prisoner in Belle Reve, and it ends up being Lex Luthor. And I loved this scene. I don't know how you guys felt about it. I like the way that Holt approached it. It felt a lot more like Lex was a lot darker, a lot more sinister here, a lot more pessimistic. But I also like how he still had that air of superiority over Rick Flag and just knew like it was going to end up in his favor. Let's skip the formalities and just give me your best offer. I thought that was really interesting. But yeah, I mean, Lex was kind of like, when you think of it from the point of view of Rick Flag, like Lex is kind of making some good points here.
Jail will harden a man, you know what I'm saying? Doing a couple months in the slammer.
He could come out being, he could have gone up a weight class. That'll be interesting to see if he's,
Venom Kryptonite.
Well, no, if Lex is just in the gym and in prison, and he's like all-star Superman-sized Lex going forward.
Yeah, that would be.
He gets a couple teardrops tattooed on his bald head.
Yeah. I mean, I think, given that it's Peacemaker, especially seeing a bald guy of Lex's, skin tone in prison, he'd probably have some interesting tattoos if, you gotta gang up in there to survive. But it is Belle Reeve, so who knows what the pecking order there's like.
Yeah.
It's interesting that after what Lex has kind of done, he was able to so quickly kind of ensure some, I guess you could call them better amenities for himself, and how much this will kind of play into him ultimately being, released from prison. And what I'm starting to get the vibes of is it's, I know it's a fairly common thing, or it was a time period in the comic books where Lex was actually the president.
Please.
Sorry, my dog is going through it right now. But I wouldn't be surprised if now his game plan shifts to trying to like, we know that he is going to, or at least a lot of us are theorizing from the images that have been put out for Man of Steel 2, or wait, sorry,
Man of Tomorrow.
Man of Tomorrow.
Man of Steel 2?
10 years of the past.
Fucking Snyder Cult's gonna be in here in 5 minutes. They're gonna be so mad. But anyway, what I meant is, obviously, to some extent, they seem to have those two, as the they're either going back at it or they have to team up in some capacity in the new film. And I would not be surprised if by the end of, a couple films here, Lex has positioned himself back in a favorable light somewhat within the DC universe, to the point where I could almost see him becoming president in the DC universe.
Yeah, I mean remember what Rick Flag said to him. He said it was specifically a chance at redemption for Lex.
Yeah.
Now, is that something deeper than what we might think on the surface level, just being you can redeem yourself for what you did by helping us stop Peacemaker, and it's just that deep? I don't think so. I think there's a little bit more to that. Maybe Argus and Rick Flag already know that there's like something on the way or something popping up that they can't quite figure out. If you're looking at the script that James Gunn showed the cover of, we have that big brain. We're all assuming Brainiac. Maybe there's something going on with their tech, or some weird computer virus or something. They can't figure it out. They need the smartest man on earth to come take a closer look as well. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. But
and also to that fact, he very specifically said the phrase, "We're now partnered with," or something to that.
We're
now partnered with Lex. Yeah, with Lex Luthor, implying that like this is not going to be like a one time. He got a couple things, and we got this, this ability to track him down. I think that this is going to be like his ultimate way out of prison and back into the favorable light of the common person in the DC universe.
He could take a deal like the exact deal that Peacemaker got. Work for Argus and get out of prison, basically, right? Like that was all of season 1.
I also think the Rick Flag Senior's leadership over Argus is probably going to be short-lived, because he seems to already be like overstepping boundaries. I forget the character's name, but the cyborg, the other, member of Argus or whatever, seems to be
Sasha Bordeaux.
Seems to be sizing him up as like a weak link, or, an erratic sort of X factor. So I could even see Lex manipulating the situation. He becomes head of Argus, and then as head of Argus, he's like, well, it's my job to defend the world from Brainiac or something by the time Brainiac shows himself. And then he's like, I help Superman save the world. Maybe he, finesses it where he gets all the credit to the public. And they're like, oh, so Lex is a good guy. Lex is a hero. He just misunderstood. And he got it wrong with Superman, but he was right with the Brainiac. That's a good alien that actually does want to like enslave people or at least bottle them up in, one of their cities and etc. So he'll be like, I was right. And then he uses the leverage of Argus to, that would, a lot of, that gives him a lot of leverage. That gives him a ladder, a pathway to political dominance in the form of the, president.
Especially if there's any ties between Brainiac and Krypton, like has often been exhibited in, comics and in the animated series and things where, if it turns out that Brainiac was behind Krypton's destruction too, oh, there's another bad thing from Krypton, not just this guy Superman I told you to worry about. He could continue to plant that seed in the public eye that drives division. And I don't know. I'm not trying to theory craft too heavily into the point where I'm like, yes, Lex will absolutely, based off this 5-second jail interview, become the president of the United States. But like, we're these types of things are fun to do, and it's hard to not do them. But we know he's getting out. We just don't know how he's getting out.
It's interesting here because it seems like he's actually trapped, because my expectations with his level of intelligence and his influence, and we normally see this in the comics where it's like, oh, he's in prison, but he's not really there. He's kind of just there because like him being there and him being in his office isn't really a difference for him, and he can kind of leave. So he doesn't seem to have that kind of level of influence in this world at this point in time. And I think his conversation with Rick Flag Sr. is very interesting because I don't know if that conversation goes the same way if he's talking to Waller, right? I feel like Waller would have been able to handle him specifically better. Right?
She'd have been like, give me the tracking device, or I'm moving your cell to King Shark. Well,
I will blow your brains out and pretend that you had a stroke in your cell or something.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I really like the character. I know that I really like what they have done with Frank Grillo as Rick Flag Sr. The scene in the episode previously where he beat the ever living piss out of Peacemaker was kind of a detour, but I think it kind of shows the calm and collected side mixed with the emotional side of the character, and now what he's willing to do. And I think that Amanda Waller was kind of the end all be all, the ends justify the means kind of a character, and we haven't really seen that out of Rick Flag. But maybe we're heading more towards that path now. We deal with the most infamous criminal in the world at this point. So we don't know where it's going to end up, but I definitely think I just want I want that character of Rick Flag to be around for more stuff than just the occasional cameo here and there. So that was a very circular way of me saying I like him. He's cool.
I like him, but I don't think he survives. I think the people around him are simply too dangerous. If Sacha Bordeaux is not working for him, right? Let's say she's working for Lex or Waller, I just don't think he survives. I think he won't go as far as they will, but he also isn't on the side of like Superman. He's not going to work with them either, right? So he's like in this middle ground where everybody is probably going to be against him, and I just don't think he has the chops to survive in that, right?
He should have honestly just like cleared out that entire bureau and hired his own people, because clearly, I mean, these people. That's another thing about Argus, and sort of like, I think I've said this before, but this is like the worst agency ever. Like you think about other analogs like SHIELD or something, and they were at least like pretty competent. Even if their goal was world domination, they got pretty close. Like you can't say that they were like incompetent at their ambitions. But these guys are like, this guy's got bird blindness. Okay, that didn't show up. There was no medical screening where he's like, I cannot identify different types of birds. This is a problem of mine. But genuinely, like, Economos is untrustworthy. He's clearly emotionally compromised. He was stalling with the thing for 15 minutes. Like, fire him. Like, there can't. This is the DC universe. He can't be the only hacker that you guys can find that could get this door open.
It might be. I mean, that's
maybe,
why,
but
I don't think Waller would put up with Economos more than 30 seconds.
But Waller, like even Waller, because Gunn was like Waller's smarter than Rick Flag Senior, but Waller, they succeeded in like a mutiny during the Suicide Squad. Like, is there no government overhead in her department? Like, does she not have someone she answers to that is like, hey, you got hit in the head, it would, with a golf club, you're fired. Like, I don't know what. I don't know. It's just such a like haphazard
of defense
organization
is above Argus, and then that person would answer the president. So she's probably pretty high up. I want Waller to come back. I know Nick said he has Rick Flag. Hit the road, dude. I want
Waller
back.
has way more potential.
She has way more.
I didn't say I like Rick Flag more than I like Waller. I do think Waller should come back. I liked her. I mean,
it's Viola Davis
is
how can you not?
She's a great. Yeah, she's a great actress, and she's one of the most damn menacing people in all of these movies. Like, she's without having powers, she's one of the scariest people in any of these comic book films.
Yeah,
she's up there
because she just
Sam
wields
Jackson
that authority.
As Nick Fury. I said she's up there.
Exactly.
As Nick Fury. It's like,
I don't think she has. I mean, even Lex, right? Like, I think it's yet to be seen if is it all a power play? Is there part of him that? Because I think based on Superman, he does genuinely want to do the right thing.
Yeah, for sure.
He's obviously got like he's clearly very how is it like he has low confidence or something, like the fact that he's imprisoning these people. Obviously a good chunk of them are on behalf of the US government. So he could be perceiving that as like, I'm just doing what I'm told. They think there's security risks, so I'm happy, 2 thumbs up to imprison him. But like ex-girlfriends and the way he reacted to his girlfriend at the time is like, clearly he's not like a good person, but there might be a good person deep down in there somewhere. But with Waller, I think she is completely married to the idea of anything is worth, sort of the security of the planet.
Did we ever see Amanda Waller execute an innocent person to try, like, Lex Luthor?
Well, she was going to have that entire country get taken over by Starro,
I mean,
right?
I guess, sure.
Presumably.
Well, I don't think so.
And she would have killed Bloodsport's daughter. Like, I don't doubt that.
That's true.
But she by proxy and put her in a dangerous, prison. She wouldn't have made it.
Yeah, it would have been really cool to see them spar, because like it's not canon, but we saw like her spar with Bruce Wayne a little bit and like kind of get the upper hand on him in that one little scene that they had together. So I want more of that. I want more of her like with the heavy hitters. Like a scene between her and Lex, I think would be monumental. Like the scene with Rick Flag, it was kind of him just being like desperate, like, listen, man, we need your help. And he's like, okay, set me free. And he's like, okay, well,
you're like a smart dude or something, right? You got some kind of gizmo.
Exactly. He's not built for this. He's a guy that should be leading troops, not leading a government agency.
There's also like a weird thing with Suicide Squad, Creature Commandos, Argus, where the tone of the shows, I feel like, kind of works against how efficient Argus ends up being. Because having an Argus squad get taken out by Eagly is a great scene, but it makes them all look like complete morons. But it didn't look like morons.
Eagly is the
prime eagle.
Yeah, listen, you can justify it. They still look like morons. Like in Superman, they didn't look that bad, but that's because that's not the tone Superman was going for. I'm just wondering, like, are they actually an effective unit? Because they must be if they're capturing all these. Like, if they were able to somehow capture Phosphorus and force him to work for them, like, you must be efficient in some way.
I mean,
well, Batman beat the hell out of Phosphorus.
Oh, wait, hold on. Maybe they are useless, actually.
Yeah, Batman beat the hell out of Phosphorus. Nina was like arrested by like Bloodhaven PD or something, or Star City PD.
So just some
Fish and
guy.
Wildlife Authority just caught her.
Yeah.
Pipe.
They found the plastic soda, holder around her throat and just threw her in a van. But no, I think like Argus is like processing and imprisoning these people. But I mean, they got outmaneuvered in Creature Commandos. Like that was a flop. Like on the scoreboard, that was an Argus L. Like they misread the situation. They went in half-cocked. They got agents killed. Like Nina was killed in the line of duty. You had like defectors as well. So I mean, if I'm like Bruce Wayne or something, and I'm like, Alfred's Argus is here, I'm like, whatever. Like send Tim Drake will deal with it.
Go send the dog or something. I don't.
Send
Ace the Bat Hound. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I want to see them because that's the thing. I do want to see them be an effective threat to the heroes in certain ways, right? Because you can't just have Waller carry. You need to have Waller, and then you need some efficient people below her so that we can actually say, okay, these guys are kind of a threat.
Well, she fired all the efficient people when they turned on her in Suicide Squad.
I don't think that a lot of them are kind of comedic relief, but I do think like there is a good handful that are like actually effective at it. Like I think Rick Flag is effective at his job. Both Rick Flags. I think Amelia Harcourt is really good.
Yeah.
Not even talking about like the Suicide Squad members of the Creature Commando people, just Argus people.
Argus proper.
Genuinely, Economos is really good at what he does, and he's becoming more loyal to Peacemaker, so he's like growing a spine a little bit, but I'm sure he did whatever they said prior to this and was like the best at it. So why not have him continue in that role, right? And now we're just starting to see I can't talk about Flurry, okay? Flurry, you're right. He is a complete dork. I don't know what he's doing there. I don't know how he got there. But Bordeaux seems like super effective. The entire strike team seemed like legit. I mean, they weren't goofballs. They just got their asses kicked by an eagle.
Yeah, Judo Master's efficient.
I don't know who gave him a gun. I don't know who gave Judo Master.
That's what I was saying. Is like
that was probably Rick Flag. He's like, who do we got?
Probably. You have like a few like good chess pieces here, like a few key players that but they're like you can't get them in line. Yeah, and like there's subterfuge. Like Bordeaux is clearly playing Rick Flag Senior. And it's like clearly even with Amanda Waller, there was a mutiny. Like you have to think like when you're trying to build up these units, you'd figure let's have psychological profiles. All these people need to be willing to do whatever it takes to get it done. Like Peacemaker, right? You need an intelligence.
Sure.
Right, exactly. You need to surround yourself with high-level elite peacemakers as far as their mindset as like if that was the unit Waller was building, if that's what she was tasked in constructing by the United States government, someone who has to keep all this stuff, in lock and key, kill anyone it takes if it means the peace of, the United States is preserved, then she even Waller failed. And I think that's probably a consequence of like, if you were building the universe with the Justice League, you probably could afford to have like Waller be very impressive. And then you do like Suicide Squad and Creature Commandos to kind of like tie that off. And it's like, okay, Waller's done. Her threat has been, mitigated. But James Gunn, by all intents and purposes, started with the Suicide Squad and wasn't planning a big universe. So Waller was basically defeated at the end of that. And then even more so in Peacemaker season 1. So I feel like that's probably why it's kind of like we're front heavy on Argus L's, but maybe they could rebuild their unit. Waller regains power and they could go crazy and arrest
the Winter Soldier equivalent for Argus. Like
that's what I was going to say.
But I guess like in that, Shield was made to be the ultimate fool, and like Nick Fury essentially was a walking L machine for the entirety of the MCU, despite the fact that he had efficient people underneath him like Coulson, right? There's no Coulson.
But Shield was Hydra. So Hydra was efficient. Hydra nearly took over the world. There was like I mean, I guess it's somewhat
Shield
comparable.
was Argus until Hydra infiltrated it. That's why.
Exactly.
That's why it's so
Exactly.
easy.
I want okay, but that's the thing, right? When we're looking at like their threats, if they're like, oh, Shield is going to after Captain America to capture him, I'm like, man, they could have a chance. They've got crazy tech. They've got all the. If they're like, yeah, the Argus is sending people to take out Batman, I'm like, oh well, I guess Batman escapes. Right? I'm not
Yeah,
worried.
There's no threat. There's
and
no
it's not,
threat
and it's
there.
not like, oh, Batman. Why I hate Batman, right? Top one Batman hater, right?
I don't think they're getting Peacemaker, and I'm gonna be honest. I mean, I Green Arrow would be higher tier. Any of the Bat family, I'd be like they'd replicate anything Peacemaker could do, but better. Like just I don't know who like. And I mean, they send in whatever his name. I'm sorry, I'm terrible with names. If these characters keep showing up, I'll swear to remember them. But the bird blindness guy,
Flurry.
Yeah, he's like, he's got this squad of like Berkeley students, and it's like immediately he has to, he's like, and then they get beaten by Eagly. I'm like, these are the guys that. Like, I think Peacemaker would have just beaten all of them.
I'm not worried whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, and they should know. They're like, this guy fought Bloodsport, and he killed Rick Flag. He killed Rick Flag Jr. This is the guy that killed Rick Flag Jr. You're going to send bird blindness with a bunch of Berkeley students after him? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. And that's Rick Flag Sr.'s son. He's like, these are the guys I trust to bring in. Like, send in the Cyborg
was
immediately.
Not supposed to be there, right? There was supposed to be no one there. They were just
sure.
going
I guess
after Peacemaker.
Still,
but when Peacemaker
you still want
locks
the
in,
best.
he is kind of like cracked. Like, we saw him lock in when he was fighting the Freedom Fighters in like episode 3 or whatever, and just no mercy, like axe to the head, like just completely obliterating people with no issues. So yeah, I agree with you on that. But go ahead.
Just last point on. I was going to say on last point. I feel like maybe you can defend Suicide Squad, Creature Commandos, a little bit where you can say she's not picking these pieces, right? Imagine you're trying to build a team and somebody else is giving you like random broken pieces, and you have to try to make it together. Like, I could. Those I expect to kind of blow up a little bit. Right, when you have egos where you're only keeping them in check by the fact that they're going to die, right? And then you have one command.
Send her best team to do like the real mission. She sent the losers to go die on the beach.
Oh, that is true.
She sent like Peacemaker, Bloodsport, King Shark, and
Harley.
No, Harley was on
Ratcatcher.
the beach. Ratcatcher and Polka Dot Man to do the real thing, and those were like the. Rick Flag he was just like, sorry, buddy, you gotta go. Like, somebody has to lead this team and maybe you'll win. I don't know. But, like, those were either, like, a pain in her ass people, like Harley probably was, or just dorks she didn't care about that were expendable, like Michael Rooker's character that...
Mongal.
Or she could have been like, these are guys the heroes should have killed and they won't, so I will. Like, Batman won't kill Harley, Superman won't kill Mongal, like, presumably if... any of that is, still canon. Like the idea that, like, well, who did Mongal fight anyone?
Somebody should ask him that. Because that's an interesting one. That's a character. That's some alien stuff. But because that's the thing.
Green Lantern probably took care of her.
Probably. Like, if they said the Creatures Commando squad from the show is going down to take Batman, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, these guys have got some threat. Like I could see them doing something there,
pretty
right?
High diff. It'd be tough.
Right? Yeah. But I don't know.
So Argus needs to be more of a threat if we're supposed to take them seriously.
No, I agree.
The mainline Argus, not just the squad members. Because again, that's the thing. Where is Argus's technology? Why do they just have guns?
Yeah, AR-15s. They're not wearing like armor. Presumably they have like
Maybe
bulletproof.
Why does Argus
outfitting them?
Okay, no, there's this thing. Why does Argus, like, where you're basically only answering to the president, you have unlimited, you can do whatever you want, you have worse, like, tech than some, like, random Eastern European Pakistan?
I mean, that's true. That's true.
Actually, what?
They should have jetpacks and laser beams.
Like, wait, who was Mr. Terrific? Oh, that was Lex's goons that he was fighting, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
the Raptors.
Okay. So, yeah, why do you not have Oh, man.
Maybe they can't
Sorry.
afford to buy them off of Lex. Lex is sending
Dude,
all the good
you
stuff
can't tell me
overseas.
there's no one else intelligent. There's no, like, I guess Mr. Terrific. Who else is smart in DC? None of the none of the atoms are working for you.
No.
You don't have any of the like billion evil scientists. You don't have
Well, they
Man
were
Bat.
up. They were up in World War II. They had GI Robot, which was like the peak of technology. Like we can't even make one of those today, probably. So.
Oh, not Tio Borrow.
We got Boston Dynamic robots you can just front kick onto their asses.
Joe Rogan spinning kick.
Yeah, would destroy them.
All right, before we wrap here, I want to talk about predictions, future stuff. Nick, thoughts, next episode. What are some things you want to see? What are some things you expect to see?
Oh man, you put me on the heels quickly.
I can go, and then you can follow if you got nothing.
No, I think what I expect to happen in the next episode is kind of the wool being pulled back, or the veil being pulled back on who Chris is and the conflict that is now kind of gonna boil over. They have to kind of address the fact that that universe's Chris is dead, and this Chris is an imposter, and that is sure to breed some animosity between the 2/3 of the top trio and the 11th Street gang. So I think you're going to start to see that take place, as well as the conflict internal that takes place with Chris, where he has to kind of understand that this world that he's in is not quite as perfect as he thought it was. He was only looking at this, again, from a very selfish lens of the things that he wanted at the time, which was primarily his family and Amelia. Mm-hmm. So I think that he's going to have to balance the fact, like he's going to come to the realization that, yeah, this is not the universe I'm supposed to be in. And now it's time to figure out how the hell to get out of here with as little collateral damage as I can possibly get away with. So I think that's kind of the direction that this next episode is going to go. I think you're going to go. I would go as far as to say that like you're probably going to have a big battle in this next episode, potentially between Peacemaker and his family, and then it will culminate in the final episode with them figuring out how the hell they're actually going to get out of there, and how this whole thing kind of correlates to the rest of the DC universe, which I'm sure after the next episode we'll have a little bit more clarity, because we do know that James Gunn said that episode 8 does set up what they're doing, like the big chess pieces that are going in place for this first phase. And it's called Gods and Monsters, so there's all different kinds of things that could play into. We just don't know what those are yet. So hopefully, I'd like to get a little bit. I'm hoping that by the end of not episode 7, but by episode 8, we kind of have a little bit more of a clear line of sight into maybe what that name means in this world. Does gods refer to Superman and monsters refer to creature commands type of thing, or is it more of a metaphorical type thing? So we'll kind of see where it goes, but I'm hoping that we get some real big, greater DCU world building taking place.
Yeah, I think we're probably going to get a good chunk of that in episode 8, because James Gunn said it is a lot longer than normal. I hope it's like an hour and a half. Like, genuinely, I hope it's that long. Like, I think we need a lot of time to really wrap this thing up, because we took so much time to get to the big red button, right? Which was the reveal. And now we have 2 episodes to kind of resolve it as well as we can. Yeah. And then we also have to resolve the Argus stuff. Like, we can't just resolve Earth X, which just started, right? We have to resolve that as well. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think maybe by the end of this episode, they'll escape back to their Earth, and there will be some collateral damage, but it's not like they're going to overthrow all of Earth X in a single episode, or even in 2 episodes, right? I think they're just going to do what they can to get out. If some people die, then they die, and then we're gonna settle with Argus mostly, and then maybe we'll get like the end of the season will set up like White Dragon and Keith. I don't remember the character's his superhero name off the top of my head, but maybe they're like still alive. They're scarred. They want revenge for their son, and then they're like planning to go and back into the main dimension. That'll be like Peacemaker season 3, like Earth X and or something. But I don't even expect there to be like a crazy power. I don't think there's an Overman. Like, I doubt there's a Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, these kind of things in Earth X. I feel like if those kind of characters existed and lived on Earth, I know that this isn't the truth. Like, this has happened in DC Comics many times where good heroes are evil based on their nurture, not necessarily their nature. But in my heart of hearts, I would like to believe that in this universe, if those characters existed, they would have stopped like all of this shit from happening.
Vigilante's trying to, right? So you'd have to think Superman, who part is part of Superman's narrative in, you know, the whole point of the Superman movie was it's not his nature to be a hero, or it is in his nature to be a hero. It's not his nurture.
Exactly. So I would hope that would be the case in this universe. And if like Hal Jordan was a thing and had a Green Lantern ring, he wouldn't be like a National Socialist. But I'm expecting a scene where like Peacemaker Chris is trying to so I think that's going to be episode 7. There will be some blowback for that, and then most of the final episode will be Argus stuff and setting up future things. But I don't think we're going to be done with this other Earth for this season. I think it'll come back, and I just don't think there's any way to reconcile it entirely unless the portal, like the pocket dimension that connects all the other dimensions, is like destroyed somehow. So
yeah, I'll say, I mean, as far as predictions, I'd probably just agree with how you guys have laid it out. You know, it's hard to say, but I think something I hope for, and Garrett kind of addressed it, is I don't want a retread of how season 1 ended, because obviously in that one it was kind of the same setup, right? It's like Peacemaker loves his father. Obviously, he up till now has probably loved his new father more. But he loves his father, but he knows he's a bad guy deep down. And it's like, can I bring myself to kill him? That was kind of the big culmination. And then even also with the butterfly thing, it's like, that's essentially, you're dealing with another world. You're picking a world over a different one. You're picking a world without butterflies where people can be free to make their own mistakes, or you're picking a world where maybe the butterflies can like take over and, you know, uproot humanity, and that might be better. You know, they might have a better civilization overall. So I don't want to retread. I probably would want Peacemaker to say like, this isn't my world. You know, kind of what Garrick was saying. But I also just hope he doesn't end up with Harcourt, because I don't want Chris to get rewarded, because he's basically only been making mistakes this whole season. Yeah, like
totally.
He's been the driving force of, you know, everyone's kind of all the betrayal. He's been betraying himself, really. He's been, you know, ignoring kind of any character growth that he could have had otherwise. So I think it will have to end on a sour note. I don't know how you get the band back together again. I think that would kind of be a little bit silly if it's like, we're all teaming up to fight Earth X now. We found a greater enemy and let's let bygones be bygones. Like, I think that would be kind of an immature Saturday morning cartoon version of events. But yeah. And then, I mean, I don't know. I think this other reality, it will be interesting to see if there will be like longevity to it. If they're going to try to perpetuate it, I don't know. I just think it's tough. It's a weird dilemma, because is Peacemaker, is the more mature thing for him to do at this point to potentially let his brothers, or let his brother, let his father, let them live and just be like, this is your world, bro. Like, what, you know, he can't, because you can't, if this is just a messed up place, you can't kill everyone there. They're not going to uproot the government like Garrick is saying. They're not going to have
in Superman. Just tell him what's going on.
Yeah.
He'll be like, hell.
It's like
no.
Injustice. It'll be like the Injustice video game, right, where he just pulls in against the regime.
Yeah.
But there's like nothing they can feasibly do. Like it's just, and there's I mean, there's 99 or I guess 97 or so other realities, you know, compared to Earth X and this one, or you know, their main universe. And it's like you can't. It's just you can't fix them all. You can't, like, these people. I mean, there's suffering. It's kind of like you know, in the comics, Batman, when it comes to Earth 3, they're like, we have to go to Earth 3, and Batman of course he eventually, you know, does, but it's kind of out of like, he just wants to know, like, is my dad still alive, which his dad is. So it's kind of selfish Batman going over there. But his first argument when he's approached with it is like, we haven't even fixed our own Earth. Like, they have their own laws, like, you know, and Hal Jordan, it's Kyle Rayner in the book, but Hal Jordan in the animated movie, he's like, I don't even know, like, I'm a beat cop at the end of the day. Like, is another reality in my jurisdiction? Like, there's no precedent for me to be able to enforce. Like, that to me is like a nuanced, interesting discussion that you can have with the subject matter. So I would like to see some of that. I think we could get some of that, you know, if Argus does successfully cross over from the main world to, you know, Earth X. If there's like an Argus, you know, war between the two factions. But no, I think I would rather the emotional core of it be Peacemaker realizes there is the perfect reality is what you make of it. It's not this place. You have to do the best with what God has given you. And he just rejects. He just closes the door. Maybe they go to the other side of the portal, close the door. They all barely escape, and they just like destroy that door or something. Like however you could possibly, like, can you tear that wooden door down or something, and the portal is gone. Or maybe he just, you know, blows up the portal tech that he has, right? Like the thing, the alien, which also, that's like a weird thread, right? That an alien crashed and brought a portal device to Earth. But
the entire time you were talking, since you started, I've been thinking about that nonstop. I've just been thinking about, does that mean that there was an alien in that world? Is that because, you know, now that I'm starting to think about it, it's like, where the hell did they get the portal tech to open a portal tech in that world? You know, where he stores all his Peacemaker gear. Like, if that's the case, couldn't they just follow them back through to their universe when they escape? Like, well, now I'm starting to like question, like, did they explain this and I don't remember it? But
there's that alien, and I think that alien is like a Chekhov's gun. Like, I think he's gonna be at some point he's gonna be like, hey yo, what's up? Like, speaking English. Like, it's gonna be something like that, and he'll get involved. But then there's also the alien that Peacemaker and his brother and his dad found in the woods, where
that's the one I'm talking about.
Right. There's that alien. Then there's also the alien in the portal, you know, world, the like the subspace, like whatever. I think both of those are gonna get playtime in the future.
I think that alien wasn't. I don't think it was like an alien. I think it was just a creature from another dimension. Like, because we saw the portal like open off in the distance. So maybe he comes to Earth to eat strawberries because they're like awesome, and he's just like,
well, what if he's from another dimension, right? But that dimension has an Earth with humans on it, and he's from another planet. Would he be an alien still?
Probably.
I mean, yes. Yeah, well,
interdimensional alien.
Yeah,
there it is.
And if it was like an interdimensional war that were to happen, I don't think we'd be winning, because you gotta assume on this other Earth, like, if the Axis powers won, then like the world is like united under one government, and ours is like not. It's like 500 governments, and we're just not gonna work together. I don't think.
It would have to be Superman and like Green Lantern, like speed running.
The Earth.
Yeah, Superman's
and if Top Trio is like destroying the kaiju, then I gotta assume that like Superman is not like an active superhero. Neither is Green Lantern or Girl or anything like that. That would be my guess. It seems like
I would rather, like, we're talking about what does gods and monsters mean. Me personally, I'd rather gods not mean actual heroes than monsters means super Nazis. So I also hope that, like, that I hope Earth X, I hope that's contained to Peacemaker.
Yeah, I don't
want there to be like, all right, guys, the ultimate nemesis
about that.
The ultimate, the Justice League have to unite to fight Uberman or whatever. the Earth X Superman's from.
True.
I feel like, so here's one of the things I want. I want him to get a resolution to this father brother thing. I don't, if you want to do a third season, I do make the emotional cost something else. And I think I want him to kill his brother again. And I think that because he'll probably be holding his friends and he's gonna have to make that choice, right? Of killing his brother again to
killing his family versus killing his family.
To save
his new
or something.
His new family, his like metaphorical family versus his, blood interdimensional family.
Yeah.
So
because for me, I think if you're making this decision again, I feel like at that point you have to say, okay, I've made my choice and I've moved on from them. I think that's the way you do that, and then it's a weird one because when you have something that heavy, if he was to kill Keith again, and then he also like Harker's also like, nah, I'm good. Listen, he might actually lose his mind. Actually, I feel like
might get the rope out and
yeah, it would be such a hard it's the ending that I would like the best. I think that I love the side ending where it's okay, things have ended, but he now has a new path that he can go forward with, right? Okay, right. He doesn't have the burdens of his family. He doesn't have the burden of hardcore. Okay, what are you when you've worked through this trauma? What are you going to do with your energy now? Because he has a lot of potential to do actual good. So that's what I would like. I really don't feel like they're going to do much with the other universe. I feel like they'll deal with Peacemaker, Argus people, and they'll probably just, because the door shouldn't, if they go to Peacemaker's side and then turn the door off, should it not? Well, I don't know why it'd be on the other side as well, right?
Yeah. It would probably be inaccessible, so that would be a good way to cut it off. Maybe you just drop GI Robot in there and then close the door and be like, good luck, buddy. Maybe you can 1v7 billion and good luck, pal.
Actually, hold up. I actually don't know if you can close it.
See, that's the thing that I was thinking about is there's a keypad on the inside of that door to get in, and there's a keypad on the inside of that door to get out in that other world. So they have to have that tech there, have gotten it somehow.
Yeah, it's probably.
Maybe they also found an alien in the woods when.
That's there's something there's.
This is the same
something
thing
there is.
Would be my guess.
So the other alien also found an alien in the woods as well?
Yeah. Well, that alien might have just made it. Like that might just be something that planet they just go to different dimensions all the time.
But we know that like Argus is gonna pull up to Earth X, right? Because we've seen in the previews like Flurry opening the door to Hell World, where it's like giant skeletons with legs. So it'll be interesting to see. Everybody wants it. And James Gunn surely won't keep it from people. It's just GI Robot visiting and just going crazy. That's what everyone wants.
If he's the character, I feel like that would be cool, right? I feel like
Rick Flag figures out what Earth X is. He's like,
call
it GI Robot.
It would have to be the like giant GI Robot too. It would have to be souped up GI Robot.
He shows up. And
Argus could soup up GI Robot like that, but their guys got AR-15s.
Yeah, true. He shows up with a giant cannon like a Decepticon and just blows Blue Dragon away like just one shot.
Yeah. I just feel like killing his brother. The more that we're talking about it, it just feels like it is
too obvious or
it feels like a retread. It's like because ostensibly the first season was he meets Adebayo, she challenges his like preconceived notions of like your father would not want you. Your father wants these people, erased basically. But that's not who Chris Smith is. Like they become best friends despite their differences. They have similarities, and he kills his dad because of that exact reason. He has grown emotionally intelligent enough to know that those differences can be superficial in the face of their similarities. And obviously his dad is just completely, that's there's no chance that he would ever see it that way.
Yeah.
And then also compounding all his childhood trauma that he suffered. And so it just feels like it is the exact same story. Like, he's already picked his friends over his blood family. He's already did that. He already killed his dad.
Sure. He's gone back on the decision, right? I just want there to be like a severance, because I'm not sure if there's been a season 3 announcement or anything, but I feel like we need that severance of, because are we going to drag this same arc?
I think you would just say killing you didn't fix anything. Like, that did not help him grow. Like, he killed his dad, he saw visions of him, but he still has a longing for it. I think this would have to be him realizing that if I got what I wanted, quote unquote, if I was raised by a dad who loved me and I still my brother, it would lead me down this path that it would be incompatible with my friends anyway. Like, your dad was a bad person, and if he was your brother's, if your brother was the favorite son, he probably would end up being more like White Dragon than otherwise. And so I think it would just have to be, they have a fight, but you just do the break off. Because I think it is more profound, because again, I made the parallel a few episodes ago that it's about like alcoholism and these quick and easy escapes. To say they're still there, but I've closed the door. I've realized, I've grown as a person to say drinking away my problems, whatever, doesn't solve it. But the bottle's always there. Alcohol does not go away just because,
Sure.
you've moved past it. I think that would be a more profound conclusion than just he kills everybody and it's like 2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
And like that would be a little hollow.
I hope
I
that,
agree with that.
In one of these 2 episodes, Chris is able to have like a real conversation with his brother Keith, because he's had a lot of interaction with his father, obviously, but I think it would be really like heartbreaking for him to like be like, Keith, like, I've talked to you, we've hung out a bunch since I've been over here, like, you're a good guy, like, you're better than this. Like, the Keith from my universe would never, right? And I think that would be like a really cool scene to have. But we will find out tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. We are just 26 hours away from the premiere of the next episode of Peacemaker, where we will find out all of these questions and more. Like, is Economos dead? What happened to Judo Master? And on and on and on. But that is going to be us this week for the DCU Experience, a really meaty episode, and we probably could have been here for like 3 hours talking about it, but we've reached our time limit, and my internet is being cut off by Verizon Fios if I stream 1 minute longer. So thank you, everybody, for stopping by. We really do appreciate it. We will be back next week to talk all about the newest episode, and then, of course, after that will be the finale, and then we are getting into gear for Green Lantern, which will be coming just around the corner at the beginning of 2026. So we should start getting trailers and things for that, and that will be really, really exciting. We are in the throes of the DCU. For Crisis, True, and Nick, my name is Garrick. We will see you next week.
Peace. Oh.